Something impossible is cutting through our solar system, and Webb saw it first. Not a comet, not an asteroid, not anything natural. Its official name is 3I/ATLAS, but the numbers don't do it justice. This object is older than our Sun, moving with a precision that mocks the chaos of space. Its heat signature isn't random, its geometry isn't rugged, its motion isn't drifting. Every metric screams the same unthinkable conclusion: it's controlled. At first, astronomers did what they always do. They tried to explain it away. Maybe it was a broken comet, maybe an unusually symmetrical rock, but when Webb's infrared eyes locked onto its surface, the excuses evaporated. The data showed patterns beneath the icy shell, pulses of light like a heartbeat. Every telescope on Earth had missed it. Webb caught it, and what it saw doesn't fit any known natural process in the cosmos. Numbers were crunched again and again: symmetry, energy distribution, trajectory. Nothing matched. Comets tumble, asteroids wobble. But 3I/ATLAS glides with the steadiness of a machine. Its surface geometry looks engineered, its thermal output finely regulated, as if something inside is venting heat on command. Some scientists whispered that it might be a messenger, others feared it was a warning. Could it carry information? A signal encoded in chemistry? Or was it something far more dangerous? Technology from a civilization older than ours by billions of years. And here's the twist: 3I/ATLAS has survived longer than our solar system itself. Radiation, cosmic debris, gravity storms, none of it left a scratch. After light years of travel, it arrives intact, almost purposeful, almost waiting. Hit like and subscribe to stay updated on every Webb image and discovery. The date was July 1st, 2025. Webb registered a faint wandering light just beyond Jupiter's orbit. Astronomers dismissed it at first, another entry in the ATLAS Asteroid Alert Catalogue. But as Webb's infrared sensors dug deeper, unease spread through the control rooms. This wasn't local. It wasn't orbiting the Sun. It was slicing through our system like a blade, on a straight course from interstellar space. Within days, it earned a place in history. 3I/ATLAS became the third confirmed interstellar object ever recorded, after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. But this one was different. This one shattered records. It was moving at 156,000 miles per hour, bright enough to stay visible far longer than scientists predicted. To put it in perspective, at that speed, it could travel from Earth to the Moon in under 3 hours. Comparisons only deepened the mystery. Oumuamua had baffled astronomers with its cigar-like shape and unexplained acceleration. Borisov, by contrast, looked more like a conventional comet, but Webb's high-resolution imagery of 3I/ATLAS revealed something unseen before. It didn't behave like a single body at all. From Chile, the Very Large Telescope spotted something angular, like a shard tumbling. Pan-STARRS in Hawaii saw what looked like a curved sail-like structure. But Webb cut through the confusion. What it revealed chilled the room, multiple segments moving together in synchronized formation. Not debris, not chance. Something modular. Components working as one. Then came the thermal maps. Normally, a comet warms unevenly as it approaches the Sun, one side boiling, the other frozen. But 3I/ATLAS broke the rules. Its edges radiated more heat than its core, a pattern eerily similar to engineered satellites around Earth when they vent waste energy into space. The conclusion was hard to ignore. This object wasn't simply reflecting sunlight, it might be powering itself. And the anomalies kept stacking up. As it crossed Mars's orbit, astronomers noticed its path wasn't random at all. Interstellar objects should cut through our solar system at wild angles, like bullets ricocheting across a wall. But 3I/ATLAS was aligned perfectly with Earth's orbital plane. Statistically, the odds of that happening by chance are almost zero. This wasn't a stray traveler. It was a precision approach. Even its brightness defied expectation. Instead of fading with distance, as Borisov had, 3I/ATLAS maintained a steady glow, as though compensating, regulating its visibility. Webb's instruments picked up subtle shifts in that glow, almost like signals hidden in the light itself. Were those patterns natural, or intentional transmissions aimed at us? The scientific community fractured overnight. One camp demanded caution, classify, observe, and never assume intelligence. Another argued the opposite, prepare for first contact. For them, the data was undeniable. Symmetry, modularity, thermal regulation, controlled trajectory. Together, these painted a picture no comet could match. And then came the oldest truth of all. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just strange, it was ancient. Analysis of isotopes suggested it predated our solar system, forged in another star's nursery billions of years ago. If it was artificial, its creators were long gone, but their work endured. A relic still functioning across eons, arriving at our doorstep like a time capsule or a Trojan horse. That realization spread like a ripple through labs and agencies across the world. If this thing carries information, it could change our understanding of life in the universe. If it carries something else, something harmful, we may not be ready to stop it. And the deeper astronomers looked, the more unnerving the data became. Webb began detecting faint rhythmic pulses in the infrared, patterns that didn't match comet jets, dust plumes, or anything known in planetary science. To some researchers, it looked like a thermal heartbeat. To others, it looked like a transmission. But the real shock came next. For the first few weeks, 3I/ATLAS was silent in radio wavelengths. No signals, no static, no irregular bursts. Then, as James Webb and terrestrial telescopes continued their watch, a pattern emerged that sent a shiver through the scientific community. Across Australia, astronomers noticed the object was absorbing one very specific frequency, 4.83 gigahertz. To the average person, that number is meaningless, but to scientists, it was a red flag the size of a galaxy. That frequency isn't random. It's a protected band reserved for deep space communication, the same one NASA uses to talk to Voyager, Pioneer, and probes orbiting Saturn. It was as if 3I/ATLAS had deliberately reached across the cosmos and placed a finger over humanity's lips, silencing us mid-sentence. But was it only absorbing the signal, or was it listening? Webb's instruments detected that the silence wasn't empty at all. Hidden in the absence was a structured modulation, a pattern carved into the very void itself. This wasn't just silence, it was a language. At first, conventional supercomputers dismissed the anomalies. The flickering light curve, the shifting segments, the radio absorption, none of it made sense together. To them, it was chaos. But when the raw Webb data was handed to a quantum artificial intelligence, the story changed forever. Unlike normal machines that reduce everything to ones and zeros, a quantum system maps probabilities across countless dimensions. It doesn't just crunch data, it sees the hidden order inside the noise. The AI began with Webb's light curve analysis. Human astronomers had already noted that the brightness seemed erratic, but the quantum AI decoded the sequence, prime numbers, 11, 13, 17, perfectly timed pulses. This wasn't natural variability, it was mathematics, a deliberate beacon of intelligence. But the AI wasn't done. It revisited the 4.83 gigahertz silence. By analyzing the missing signal, it found that the absence itself contained structure, tiny fluctuations etched like grooves on a record. The silence was a carrier wave, and within it was a second message. Then, on July 21, 2025, the Allen Telescope Array in California picked up a faint, structured burst. 3 beats, then 2, then 5. To human ears, just noise. But to the AI and to Webb's corroborating data, it was confirmation. The pulse, the primes, the radio absorption, all pieces of a multi-layered communication system, the kind of sophistication no natural object could ever produce. It was hiding in plain sight, embedding its signal across light, heat, and silence, a message only detectable once humanity had the tools to see it. With 99.9% certainty, the system reported that 3I/ATLAS was not a comet. It was artificial. It was responding to our observations in real time. For the first time in history, it became clear. We weren't just watching it, it was watching us. And yet, these signals were only the beginning. 6 days later, the world space agencies barely had time to process the implications when James Webb captured something impossible. On July 27, 2025, a Japanese thermal array detected a sudden flare from the object's edge, a burst of heat lasting only 7 seconds. Hours later, Webb's sensors confirmed the unthinkable. 3I/ATLAS was changing shape. For weeks, it had been nothing but a blur, a faint smear of light against the stars. But now, Webb's high-resolution imagery revealed edges and definition. One side grew flatter, the other sharper, almost like a blade unfolding in the dark. Natural rocks do not reconfigure themselves in mid-flight, yet this one did. Days later, the European Southern Observatory released a composite built from Webb's infrared data. After extensive processing, the image stunned the scientific world. The surface wasn't smooth. It was patterned, narrow, segmented like panels on a machine. The illusion of a comet was slipping away, and in its place stood something manufactured. It was as if a submarine, cloaked as a whale, had finally shed its disguise. But the transformation wasn't just visual, it was chemical. As 3I/ATLAS drifted closer to the sun, it began venting gas, forming a thin glowing coma like a traditional comet. Spectroscopy teams rushed to decode its composition, and at first the results seemed normal. Water ice, carbon monoxide, organic molecules. Familiar, almost mundane. And that was the problem. An object forged in another star system should be chemically exotic, with ratios different from anything born in our neighborhood. Instead, Webb's spectrographs found a mix eerily similar to the comets of our own solar system. That left 2 staggering possibilities. Possibility 1. Life's building blocks are universal. Across trillions of miles, distant suns produce the same molecules, suggesting life might not be rare at all. Possibility 2. The chemistry was deliberate camouflage. Here, Webb's precision changed everything. Its instruments picked up tiny irregularities in gas ratios, subtle imbalances no human eye would have spotted. And then came the kicker. Buried within the spectrum was a molecule that didn't exist in any Earth database, not in NASA's archives, not in pharmaceutical libraries, not in interstellar chemistry catalogs. The AI flagged it immediately. It wasn't noise, it was structure. A molecule built like a storage device, a biological data carrier designed to remain stable across eons of travel. If you wanted to send a message across the stars, you wouldn't rely on fragile radio signals. You'd use molecules, encoding information in chemistry itself. Which meant one thing. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just a machine, it was a messenger. A Trojan horse wrapped in ice and dust, smuggling a coded message written in the language of alien biology. But there was a catch. Its orbit was pulling it past Mars toward the outer system, and the window to decipher the message was closing fast. As astronomers scrambled, the object's trajectory carried it behind the sun, cutting it off from view for several critical weeks. When it finally re-emerged in December, it was already on its way out, cooler, dimmer, and speeding back into the void. Yet even from this distance, the patterns it left behind whispered secrets of its strange journey, teasing the edges of what humanity was only beginning to understand. It had passed through our home system, performed a series of inexplicable maneuvers, broadcast a message we could barely comprehend, and then slipped away without a trace. By 2027, it will be gone for good, leaving us with more questions than answers. But Atlas isn't the whole story. To understand what's really happening, you have to zoom out. This wasn't an isolated event, it was part of a pattern. Let's recap. In 2017, we had Oumuamua, a bizarre cigar-shaped object that inexplicably sped up when it should have been slowing down. Then, in 2019, Borisov, which looked more like a natural comet, but still came from another star. And now 3I Atlas, a shape-shifting, heat-radiating marvel that communicated with prime numbers. 3 interstellar visitors in less than a decade. Before 2017, the number was 0. So what gives? Are we just getting better at looking? The new telescopes are part of it, sure, but the quantum AI offered a more chilling explanation. It analyzed the trajectories of all 3 objects together and found a non-random correlation. Their arrival times and paths, when mapped against galactic orbits, weren't random. The AI suggested they were targeted, sent from a single region of space, timed to arrive precisely when our technology was just advanced enough to detect them. Think about that for a second. Humanity has had telescopes for centuries, but only in the last few years have we gained the ability to spot objects this faint and this fast. Is it really a cosmic coincidence that these 3 messengers appeared during the tiny sliver of human history when we could finally see them? The AI says the probability of that is almost 0. This isn't coincidence, it's a survey. We are being observed, probed. These objects are the galactic equivalent of drones, each one different, each one perhaps testing our detection abilities in unique ways. Oumuamua was a fast, silent pass. Borisov was a cometary disguise. Atlas was an active, communicating probe. And here's the chilling part. The AI detected faint gravitational anomalies in their wakes. Nothing catastrophic. Tiny ripples, as if each object carried more mass than was visible, or used gravitational assists in ways no natural rock ever could. In plain English, they weren't just passing through, they were navigating. But navigating to what? Or to whom? Some scientists whisper about an even deeper possibility. We didn't just spot these objects, they wanted to be spotted. They deliberately crossed our observational cone, the narrow zone of space covered by our best telescopes. That would mean they weren't just probes, but announcements. And yet, the announcements came with silence. No open message, no handshake, just cryptic signals, prime numbers, odd behaviors, and a vanishing act. This is where history complicates the story, because this isn't the first time humanity has seen something strange in the skies. Medieval astronomers recorded guest stars that appeared suddenly, moved oddly, and then faded without explanation. Chinese records describe broom stars that didn't behave like comets. Even in the 20th century, astronomers dismissed unusual tracks on photographic plates as errors. How many Oumuamuas slipped past us before we had the tools to measure them? How many surveys failed to notice the pattern? Now, for the first time, the dots are connecting, and the implications are staggering. Because if these are probes, someone built them. And if someone built them, then either they are alive right now watching us, or their artifacts are so durable they've outlived their makers. Both possibilities are terrifying. Governments know this. That's why Atlas became classified almost immediately. While civilian astronomers reported their findings, military satellites tracked the object with far greater precision than the public was allowed to see. Why? Because if Atlas was maneuvering, it wasn't just a scientific anomaly, it was a potential national security threat. Imagine an object the size of a skyscraper slipping between planets faster than our fastest rockets, immune to interception. That's not just an alien probe, that's a strategic weapon, at least from the perspective of generals. And then comes the religious dimension. Atlas's signal of prime numbers didn't just trigger scientific papers, it set off theological debates. Some faith leaders framed it as a modern burning bush, a sign not of machines but of divine watchers. Others saw it as a test, a warning to humanity about its hubris. Suddenly, cosmic visitors weren't just science fiction. They were a challenge to belief systems, power structures, and human identity itself. Meanwhile, the AI kept crunching numbers, and what it predicted next froze even the skeptics. Based on galactic orbital mechanics, the next interstellar visitor is due in 2032. Not randomly, not maybe, predicted. Which means if the model holds, we're on a schedule, a countdown. And here's a twist most people don't know. SETI's radio telescopes recorded faint background anomalies during Atlas's passage, bursts too short to decode, too faint to confirm. Were they data dumps? Pings to something waiting in interstellar space? If so, Atlas wasn't sending a message to us. It was sending a report back home. This brings us to the most unsettling hypothesis yet. These aren't scouts in the traditional sense. They're calibration tools. Each one pushes our detection limits further. First, a silent passerby, then a cometary cloak, then an active broadcaster. What comes next? Something undeniable? Something that forces us to respond? The AI ran one final scenario. If the pattern continues, the 2032 visitor won't just pass through. It will park. It will enter orbit, where no one can dismiss it as coincidence. That would be the end of ambiguity, the moment humanity has to decide whether to make contact or brace for consequences. We are living in an age of discovery, where every answer leads to an even deeper question. Are we standing at the verge of first contact, or are we pawns in a survey too vast for us to comprehend? For now, Atlas fades into the black, and Earth holds its breath.